Welcome, adventurers! You've made it to the Wind Down, the live stream at the end of the Geekverse. It's a chill place to hang out here as the sun sets on another day. We're here to have a little chat, reflect on the day's successes, and prepare for a better tomorrow. So settle in with your favorite beverage this evening.
May I tempt you with a cup of chamomile?
Why, thank you, Dory. I would love a mug of tea this evening, but perhaps you would rather have some coffee, though I do recommend decaf this late in the evening. Or perhaps maybe a cold brew is more your style.
Oh, no thank you, Dory. A little red wine. For me, I think.
Sounds like an excellent choice, Gandalf. Whatever you want, it's yours. Could I offer you a bourbon, a martini, an old-fashioned, or something perhaps a little stronger? Ugh. Well, I mean, if that's really your thing, then okay, but I hope we can find something a bit better than that.
Romulan ale. Why, Bones, you know this is illegal.
I only use it for medicinal purposes.
All right, now we're talking. I'm Heath, and I'll be your host. Welcome to my home. Come one, come all. Writers, artists, sculptors, storytellers, board gamers, streamers, dungeon masters, fans of sci-fi, fantasy, geeks of all kinds. Whatever your fandom, you have a place here. For soon it will be time for another long rest so that we can recover our hit points, our spells, and our abilities, so we'll be ready to fight on for another day tomorrow. But first, we all need a little time to reflect. Because you've survived another long, perilous day of wilderness treks, dungeoneering, and random encounters. And that's worth celebrating. Let's tell the tale. It's time for the Wind Down. It will improve your life. It really will. Give it a chance. Here we go. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is great to have you. Welcome to my home this evening. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the office. And welcome to the Wind Down. We're going to be working on some RPG material here on this cold, cold night. I see Stray was just sitting here talking about Stray's here and says, hope everyone's all right with the storm and snow and stuff. Yeah, I am. It could have come very close to me, but it actually ended up going north of me. So I have everything ready here at the house anyway. Including kerosene for the heater that I like to have here in the office and such. But I think that it largely went north. We had a lot of rain here this morning, lots of rain. But I think a lot of the actual like snow and ice and things like that, I think that went north of me. So there may be other people who have had the same kind of thing. So, welcome, Mr. Rourke. Welcome, welcome. Shell Mill, good evening, good evening. Great Old Ones is here. Wonderful. And I said Stray. Welcome, Stray. Hope you're doing great. Hey, Robert's here and also Better with Bacon. Hey, I didn't stream on Wednesday because I legitimately just forgot. There was a lot going on Wednesday, including the funeral of the father of the guy who owns the winery that I go up and work at. And so that was his funeral. And so I went up to the winery to help out, with whatever was going on. And, that was a big deal. And so there was a lot of stuff that was going on that day. And then I basically just completely forgot about streaming. Well, because I'm was in the transition to streaming Wednesday nights and stuff like that. Wednesday and Sunday night. And then all that was going on. And then it wasn't until the next day that I was like, hey, wait a minute. What day is this? I actually sat down to stream on Thursday and I was like, wait a minute. I've completely messed up the days. Go. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. Let's see. All right. So that was going on. So I'm sorry. I completely forgot about with everything else that was going on streaming on Wednesday. So I will be better about that, but at least I'm here now. What's been going on? Well, this afternoon, I was working on shipping for the Cultist RPG Kickstarter. So that was going on. I got 12 more boxes packed because on Friday, I got home and I got a whole box full of Cultist RPG books again. So this was on my desk, or on my porch rather, Friday. And so this afternoon, one of the things that I did, you can see we got the stickers that go up free. I'll show you too. Many of you probably already know, but everybody who was part of the Kickstarter campaign gets a free Brand of Cthulhu sticker. So in order to make sure that everybody gets their free sticker, I was putting the sticker along with a little note in the book right there. So I loaded that up so that everybody, when I pack the book, everybody gets the sticker and the note. So I got all of those done, and then I packed up 12 more boxes this afternoon, and the boxes are now sitting in my truck so that they can be mailed tomorrow. So I can take them to the post office and mail them tomorrow. So another 12 got mailed today, another 12 got packed up today for shipping tomorrow. So there we go. Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to getting all these packed and shipped out. That way we can do the next Kickstarter campaign. But yep, the stuff is shipping out, and of course I will send out the tracking numbers once they actually ship. So I always send out the tracking numbers of the Kickstarter system. So those are going out. Oh, Robert says, AI update, 3D mode progressing, open world. Voxel pillars also improving conditional prompting, so when party wakes up in Tartarus, they just woke up in the afterlife. Well, cool. We have tried that. Oh, I did. So Better with Bacon, one of the things we need to look at is Bacon and Mike's book. And I did, the part that says the party wasn't afraid like they should be, but now they are. I watched a whole bunch of videos and live streams about Better with Bacon and Mike's book on 4D role playing. Watch some streams and things like that. So we need to cover that here, obviously, because they're community members and we need to cover that here. So I watched all that, but then, like I said, I just got completely kind of like off of streaming. I was sick, and then when I came back, I forgot even like what day it was. So, but we need to look at that, because I thought that a lot of those conversations they had about 4D role playing were fascinating. So we will do that. I haven't actually read the book myself yet. I will, but I haven't. I downloaded it, but then I watched all of their streams that they did with other people. Okay, so let's bring some stuff up here. I didn't get to as much as I wanted to, or would have liked to, by today. But let's go ahead and get into this. So we're sitting here looking at Bard. I really think it's a good idea to do Bard, Druid, and Vate together, because those are the priestly classes. So if we're talking about Celtic priests, okay, the three priests, the three classes that make up the priestly class are Bard, Druid, and Vate. Is the music too loud? Let me turn it down a little bit. So one thing that I did do, though, is I went through and I scraped all of the spell lists from 5e, not from 5e, from OSE, from the old school essentials. And I don't think they're all appropriate to have. Hey, welcome, Charlie. Welcome, Charlie. I want to say I was packing up your, or maybe I saw your Kickstarter stuff. I packed up 12 other Kickstarters today, and one of them might have been yours, or at least I was looking at yours today, Charlie. All right, so Bard. Okay, let's look at some of the notes that we were taking a look at, that we had put in here. Anti-charm. Okay, what are the abilities? And by the way, actually, one of the things that I was thinking of was we're really going to have to work with Feared's Rabbit. You know, I was saying that one of the things that I really like about this is that whenever I'm working on a particular class, whatever class it is that I'm working on, it's like, hey, man, this wouldn't be fun to play. This is what I really like to play. Possibly now at this point, the fighter is getting shortchanged. Like I can think of all these different ones, but the fighter is, of course, which is here is called the Feared's Rabbit, or could be the Fearedsman if we just do a standard Celtic adaptation and make this the fighter type. Of course, the advantage is that you have no restrictions. Advantage. I mean, just thinking about this, advantage is no restrictions, like on what kind of weapon you use or anything else. No restrictions and no obligations, like is done with the Thane or whatever. But on the other hand, but the problem is, but also no abilities. And so I think the simple lack of no restrictions and no obligations isn't going to work. To have people playing the Feared's Rabbit. Now, maybe likewise with the fighter, maybe other people should be playing other things, or will likely to play other things. But I do think we need some other abilities to make them a bit more attractive. And there is. I've always liked the ability to strike or to attack more than one foe. And arguably you go, oh no, shouldn't the Thane also have something like that? Well, I mean, maybe they should, but we need something to distinguish the Feared's Rabbit from the Thane. So they be able to attack more than one foe when fighting someone of one hit die. That's a pretty common OSE adaptation to be given to the fighter, and so I kind of think it should be given here. But then also weapon specialization. And again, you think, isn't that something that the Thane should have? Well, maybe, but we need something for the Feared's Rabbit to have, or the Fearedsman to have. And so those are two things that I thought about that we often see in old school essentials adaptions that could go over to our basic fighter type. Why play this? Okay, this, get multi-attack. And it's not like I'm just huge on yeah, right. You less than, right, less than. Or less. And it's not like I think that, oh man, we just have to load everybody up on abilities and things like that, because one of the nice things about the OSE classes is they're not just are chocked full of abilities that lay out what you're going to be like at a higher level at the beginning of the game. And I like that. That's in defense of kind of you are what you wear role playing, that a lot of what's going to define you is what you're going to find as you adventure. But as we've been building out these other classes, this guy has nothing else. This guy has really nothing going for him. So those two things, weapon specialization and then multi-attack, would distinguish him. Bleed over from chainmail man to man rules. Stray says, I was laughing the other day thinking the specialist from the OSE could be the Jackrabbit, Jack of all trades. So I don't know. So those, I'm going to put those as notes here for Feared's Rabbit. Okay, so going over here to Bard, and I've got to write the flavor text and all of that. But what do we say here? So all of this, the caps are still notes we were working with. Bards can use leather armor, scale armor, and mail, but do not have the training required to use shields. They can use all missile weapons and one-hit melee weapons, divine magic. What exactly does page 110 say? Let's find out. Different book. The OSE books look too much alike. I'm always picking up the wrong one. Great Old One says skills to consider command and leadership raise morale from friendlies. Let's make note of that too. Morale or leadership bonus. Let's just say in general, consult, I think it's Carcass Crawler number 1. Number 1, because it's got some ideas. And I think that's one of them. Because I am also, using morale roll, sure. I'm also, I do like the ideas that the idea that the fighter fights. Okay, make sure that the fighter is the one. If you want to play a melee fighter, now we have several different varieties in this game. The Fian, the Fierdsman, the Raider, the Riestrad, the Thane. We've got a bunch of different kinds of fighters, and they all need to be distinct. But if you want to fight, those are the ones that you should choose. And we might even take a look at reducing some of the combat capability of something like the Druid or the Bard or something, maybe, because I do like I want to fight in melee. Okay, then choose a melee class. Okay, so back up here to Bard. Well, I can't. There we go. Okay, so different book. So what do we say? What does this book say about divine magic? This must be page 110. No, what? Page 110 for full details on divine magic. This book, page 110, is adventuring. This is Advanced Fantasy, page 110. That's hired help. It must be, Well, it must be something in the advanced, because that's what has Bard in it. Hey, RPG Exile. Stray says they should also be able to give like a herald bonus to social events. The Bards. I think we have something like that for the Bards. Let's see. Divine Magic. It says see page 110. This is the one with Bard in it. Maybe 122. Spells, arcane magic, divine magic. Okay, so this is probably what we're supposed to be looking at. Divine magic. This is page, actually, I'm just going to change my page number right here. This is page 123 of Advanced Fantasy. Page 123 of Advanced Fantasy. Yeah, it's great to have everybody tonight. The really chill evening streams have been really nice. Maybe they will grow. It's great to have everybody here who's a part of it. Because I just feel like, especially when it's cold outside, like it is right now, got cold outside. It's not snowing outside where I am. Like I said, I missed that, but cold outside. Got the heater going on here, talking about RPGs. Okay, so divine magic, it says memorizing spells. Divine spellcasters memorize spells through prayers to their gods. When praying for spells, divine spellcasters choose any spells on their class's spell list that are of high enough level to cast. Reversing spells. Divine spellcasters can cast the reversed version of a spell by speaking the words and performing the gestures backwards when it's cast. Deity disfavor. So this is part C, magic of advanced fantasy for full details on divine magic. Deity disfavor. Divine spellcasters must be faithful to the tenets of their alignment, clergy, and religion. If the character ever falls from favor with their deity, penalties determined by the referee may be imposed. These may include penalties to attack, -1, a reduction in spells, or being sent on a perilous quest. In order to regain favor, the character must perform some great deed for their deity, as determined by the referee. For example, donating magic items or gold, constructing a temple, converting many people to the religion, vanquishing a powerful enemy of the deity, etc. Spells and deity alignment. A divine spellcaster may draw disfavor from their deity when casting spells, or their reversed versions whose effects go against their deity's alignment. Lawful characters will only use reverse spells in dire circumstances. Chaotic characters will usually use reverse spells, only using the normal version of the spells to benefit allies of their religion. Neutral characters will favor either normal or reverse spells depending on the deity served. No deity favors both reversed and normal spells. Okay. Oh, you're in Texas, great old ones? I heard that, that things are going rough in Texas. Because Doug's out there in Texas. Lots and lots of rain in southeast Texas. Now it's going to freeze overnight. Yeah, be safe and warm. I went and picked up a bunch of kerosene, and this was like a week ago. And there was not much left even a week ago. I bought almost everything that was left. Oh, Galveston. Deity disfavor. Okay, bards must be faithful to the tenet of their animist religion. That should be and to the spirits of rock, root, and stream. Bards who fall from favor with their... it's not exactly deities here. Let's not say deity, because I think that's when I was adding the tenets of their animistic religion and the spirits of rock, root, and stream. Fall from the favor of the spirits may incur penalties. We'll say at the game master's discretion. Trey says Heath lets me vent some heat into the crawl space near his modem when things get bad out. Spell casting. Okay, once a bard has proven their faith from second level, a character may pray to receive spells. The power and number of spells available to a bard are determined by experience level. I was working with spells a little while before I got on stream. Because we were talking about, I think one of the things we were talking about last time we were streaming was, is there a bardic spell list? I think that answer is no. Yeah, over here I got cleric, druid, illusionist, magic user. Okay, so no. They may pray to receive spells. The power and number of the spells available to a bard are determined by experience level. The list of spells available to bards is found on... We just need to say, see the bardic spell list. For spells available to the bard. Now, so here is the Bardic spell list, which is the same as the Druids. So I just copied this over a little while ago, about half an hour before I got on stream. So it's like, here is the Bardic spell list, which is based on the Druid spell list. And I have not done anything other than copy it over. So this is the flat OSE kind of stuff right here. Bardic spell list: Animal Friendship, Detect Danger, Entangle, Fairy Fire, Invisibility to Animals, Locate Plant or Animal, Predict Weather, Speak with Animals. And then second level is Bark Skin, Create Water, Cure Light Wounds or Cause Light Wounds. I'm thinking about getting rid of that one and leaving and sending that over to like the Witch or the Vate. Probably the Vate should have some of that. We've got 3 that are the Bard, Druid, and Vate are our priestly classes. But then we have one other spellcaster, which is the Witch. So I want to be sure that we're not, and we haven't really worked on the Witch a lot yet. I want to be sure that we're not stepping, I want to be sure that the Witch and the Druid especially have their niche protected. Stray says that in first edition, I guess we're talking about the Bards, they got a limited number of Druid spells, I think. And I think in second edition, we were looking up and they were pulling from Wizard, from the basic magic user kind of spell list. So could drop this. There we go. Heat Metal, Obscuring Mist, Produce Flame, Slow Poison, Warp Wood. Okay, Call Lightning. Now this one seems to me to be, quintessentially Druid. Growth of Nature, Hold Person, Protection from Poison, Tree Shape, Water Breathing or Air Breathing. 4th level, let's see, could drop. Dispel Magic, Protection from Fire and Lightning, Speak with Plants, Summon Animals, Temperature Control, Commune with Nature, Control Weather, Pass Plant, Protection from Plants and Animals, Transmute Rock to Mud, and Wall of Thorns. Okay, so that is the Bardic spell list, which is the Druid spell list of OSE. I mean, some of these I think need to go over to Druid. So now Druid over here. So what I did is I pulled Druid spell list over here. So this is the Druid spell list, which is based on magic user. And some of these I don't think is appropriate. I just pulled them over before the stream started. I was like, I need something to take a look at while we're on stream here. Up on the screen, like this list. So I pulled them over. So this is the magic user kind of thing. Like some of these, like this, like floating disc. I mean, that needs to go. Like if you're talking about a Celtic style campaign, Charm Person, Detect Magic. Okay, those are okay. Floating Disc, I think that needs to go. Hold Portal. I think that one's okay. Light and Darkness, okay. Magic Missile. I think we can come up with a excuse to have Magic Missile there. Protection from Evil. Or if not evil, the other world. Protection from things that are otherworldly. I mean, that seems to be it. First E Druids have 12 spells per level available. Some are cleric duplicates for sure. Yeah, and it doesn't. I've got the Druids, the Celts, the clerics down here as well for Vate spells. Read languages. Does that make sense? In a world where Druids don't write things down. Read magic, does that make sense too? I mean, arguably read languages could. because the druids in this world don't have any problem reading other things that people write down. They just don't write their stuff down. Shield, sleep, ventriloquism. Continual light, detect evil, or detect otherworldly. Same kind of thing here with invisible. ESP, invisibility, knock, levitate, questionable. Locate object, phantasmal force, web. Druids lock. Oh, do I have the Complete Bards book? Stray's talking about the Complete Bards book. Complete Bards book, 2nd E was a thing. I think too. You know, I don't think that one of my friends had that, but I don't know that I have that now. I don't think that that's one of them. I don't think that I've rebought the Complete Guide to Bards. Yeah, Great Old One says, read magic assumes spells require a special language writing system not available to normal people. Yeah, and that's one thing we've really got to look at. Because an adaptation of magic user for OS for Druid here, there's a lot of notes here. How is the Druid going to cast these spells? Okay, like right here. Let's see this. Like, how are we gonna do it? Like, how does a Druid? And remember, this is the Druid when they're like modeled off of Merlin, for instance. Cast spells. And that's because, okay, a magic user has a large number of spells, but has to find them. Hey, it's BGD. Welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Great to have you here. Good to see you. But has to find them and record them in a spell book, which is opposed to our divine casting. Hey, what is that? So let's get the exact rule here. This is page 123 we were just looking at. And that's the wrong book too. Okay, so maybe this book, 123. Arcane magic, memorizing spells. Arcane spellcasters memorize spells from spell books, see overleaf, and are thus limited to choosing from the spells that are in their spell book, which must be at hand. Reversing spells. The normal or reversed form of a spell must be selected when the spell is memorized. An arcane spellcaster may memorize both forms of a spell if the caster is able to memorize more than one spell of the given level. Okay, so the spell has to be in your spell book, and then it also has to, and then you have to memorize it. To memorize, memorize from the spell book each morning. But this is specifically not druidic. And also kind of anti-druid feeling. As druids don't write things down. Which is exactly what great old ones are talking about. Great old one say, yeah, the druids basically pray to the deities. But what I'm talking about here is balance, right? So, okay, so looking at these, I mean, and not that OSE, everything has to be particularly, perfectly balanced. But one of the balances is, okay, like the bard here, who is using the druid spell list, has a much more limited number of spells that could potentially be cast, but he can choose any of them when he prays. Okay, now we're going over here to the druid, which is much more modeled off of the magic user. Advantage that this guy's got potentially a lot more spells that he can cast from, but he's got to find them, copy them over to a spell book, and they got to be in his spell book in order for him to memorize them. So if everybody is just praying for spells, well, I mean, just, is that okay? Is that okay? Okay for the druid to have a much larger spell selection. And still pray for them. Like for instance, the Bards and the Vates do. If this is more like the magic user, then the balance would be in, well, okay, but you don't have access to all of these. I need something else to drink here. I thought I brought something in here before I sat down, but maybe I didn't. But maybe it's not a problem. Is it a problem that the druids have instant access to all their spells? Stray says, I'll find my PDF sometime in the week on my laptop, and I'll send the PHB Bard's Handbook. Well, thanks. I might have it on my computer. Thank you. I might have it on my computer. But I don't think I have a physical copy of it. Let me see about... oh, no, wait. Here we go. Drink here. I don't have to get up. Great Old One says, an advantage of magic users in old D&D over clerics and druids is the sheer number of available magic items they can use. Yes. Let's make note of that. Also, advantage in magic items. Well, hey, let's prompt this. Is there a more druidic way to preserve the balance between the other casters and the druid here? Why don't we send that to Gemini? That sounds like a good Gemini question. Brainstorm. Let's tell it this brainstorm. Because also the wands are a big thing. Druidic wands, such as, and especially druidic wands. But druidic wands often require striking the person with them. Which I had actually written into a story, and I hadn't even really thought about that. Then later I read elsewhere, because like the druids come in effectively to bless the warriors before they're going out for battle, and they've got these branches, and they have to strike the warriors with the branches in order to bless them. And then I read elsewhere in one of these books, like later, it's like, oh, so a characteristic of druidic wands is often that you have to strike the person with them, that they can't be used at range. Let's use this. Let's see how could we still maintain this kind of balance? Brainstorm. Now, Stray, okay, Great Old One says, if you don't mind using material components. Now, I mean, that's a good question. What are we going to do about material components? I mean, you could, like, require the material components on the Druid. It didn't really understand. But here in this world, the Druids are more like the Wizards. Based on Gandalf. Or Merlin. Okay, we've got this. I need to learn more about this. The Ogham alphabet. So, I mean, I knew it was going to come up with that. That, okay, the Ogham stick method, the physical token. Instead of a book, the Druid carries a bundle of sacred sticks, carved bones, or river stones, each inscribed with the Ogham rune of a specific spell. The mechanic, the Druid does not know a spell until they possess the physical totem for it. They hang the day's prepared spells on their belt or on a staff. So that would be like the wizard finding a scroll. The Druid must find a new rune carved into an ancient tree or be taught to carve one by the mentor spirit. If they lose their bag of sticks, they lose their base spells. I will copy this over. So potentially this would be it. Druid-like spell book. If you're trying to preserve that, the Ogham stick method, the physical token. Instead of a book, the Druid carries a bundle of sacred sticks, carved bones, or river stones, each inscribed with an Ogham rune of a specific spell. The Druid doesn't know it until they possess the physical totem. So that does preserve. That would allow the Druid to have the major. The huge spell list, but only as long as you find them. And then they hang the prepared spells from their belt or staff. Stray says they could also have drums made of hides and stuff. Just think Call Lightning with a marching band tempo. They could, yes. I like the idea of a drum like that they are striking. Great Old One says a Druid can cast any spells they know, but their mistletoe requires special harvest, etc. Yeah, we do have that. I do have that. Okay, so yeah, but also I think we're going to need to move some of these Bard spells over. Fireball. There's no fireball. We got to get rid of fireball. Don't get caught in a fireball if you have your spell scrolls, your spell book, or your mistletoe wand. But I don't think here people are casting fireballs against each other. That doesn't seem very Celtic. It just seems like you need some type of way to distinguish. I mean, they're all priests. The Bard, the Druid, and the Vate are all priests. As far as the world goes. So you got to have that, so you have that. But that doesn't mean they can't be different. Because the Druid, I mean, if you want to play a wizard in this game, then you should play a Druid. Like, I want to play the magic user. Okay, then you should play the Druid. But like you're right, lightning bolts, the Call Lightning also seems like yes. We were moving, like I said, we got over here with the Bard. As spellcasters, bards can use magic scrolls of spells. We got to get rid of that. Okay, so that could also, this could be like the alphabet inscriptions. It sounds like we're going to have to go that rate. Yeah, new creation. Replace the right. Yes. So, in order to have something that's like a scroll, it sounds like we're going to need that. Or, this could be a stick. This could be a piece of bark. Could be a roll of bark. Could be a stone, something like that has been inscribed. So let's go with that. So, it's not writing, but that you can inscribe something like that. Bones, feathers, exactly. You can describe something, right? Yeah, it could be stone, bones, or feathers. For one-time, that's basically what's going on here. For one-time magical effects. They may use any item that only druids can use. Well, now we did say that we said that, a bard can use any item that a druid can use. Maybe that hurts that idea of the druids having access to a whole lot of magic items. Let's just make that questionable. Can the bards use any, or we could put a level restriction there. Bards can use any magic item a druid can use, as if they were a druid 2 or 3. I don't know what the right answer is. 2 or 3 levels lower. The druid of 2 or 3 levels lower than their bardic level. This is okay. This might have been something that Stray was just coming up with. Bards gain a reaction roll +1 to reaction rolls for every 3 levels from others in their same cultural group. Bardic curse. Okay, we were talking about how to deal with this. The story behind the item. Oh, I have something in there about the druids being able to and the bards being able to come up with like the history and lore of something. Old school druids could not have concentrations of iron, steel carried on them. Right. Now, we have for armor, none. We don't have, we say no armor, so we're not having them wear any kind of metal armor. No plate in the Celtic world. Could be, mail or leather or scale. But we're saying none as far as armor goes. So that kind of covers that. But that they can have dagger, short sword, staff, and sword. Is that supposed to be long? I hate the term long sword, especially in the Celtic kind of environment. I'll just put that here as a question. Because, especially from Gandalf, right? Okay, so Gandalf carries a sword. This kind of character should be able to carry a sword, I think. We got lots of people here tonight. Thank you very much for coming by. Everybody, please do hit the like button on this. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. I really do. So we were saying bardic curse or bardic satire, and I think this is an important part of being a bard. And it is something potentially akin to provoke for those game for those games that had it. Like, okay, bards have the ability to curse others through the use of biting verse. Yeah, I know. Yeah, broadsword. Like, so we're gonna have to look at that when we look at the entire thing. I mean, broadsword intended to contrast with, like, you know, rapiers and stuff like that. We're gonna have to come up with a whole. I do have that chapter right here. To make sure that we list out the gear appropriately. So there's a whole chapter that, or pages and words that are reserved for writing out the gear correctly and how we want to handle that. Gandalf had a healthy disrespect for any staff he owned too. What do you mean? So we said at second level, the bard gains curse, the reverse of bless. And then at fifth level, bestow curse, reverse of bestow blessings. But the problem was I couldn't find these spells. So I don't know where this was going to come. I thought this was going to be a spell like power, I said, but it could just be that we need to be sure these spells are on the bard spell list. Which, rather than adding on a spell like power, it seems like that's what needs to happen. We just need to have. Is that a cleric spell? We couldn't find this last time. In fact, we just ran over this last time. Let me look at the cleric spell list. Cure light wounds, resist cold, fine. No, bless. Okay, bless is a cleric spell, a second level. Let's find it. I'm in OSE here. Okay, so second level bless. Duration 6 turns, range 60 feet. May be used in one of two situations. Battle. Allies within a 20-foot square area who are not yet in melee gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls and +1 bonus to morale. Or ritual. Casting bless may also form part of a ritual's purification or consecration at the referee's discretion. Reversed, now they're calling this in OSE, they're calling this blight. Reversed is incurring -1 penalty to morale checks, attack rolls, and damage rolls of enemies within a 20-foot square area. A save versus spells is allowed to resist the blight. Okay, so that comes from cleric. I mean, that definitely sounds like something needs to be moved over to a Celtic bard. Third level, continual light, cure disease, growth of animal, locate object, remove curse or curse. Okay, let's look at that. That is a third level spell. Third level spell, remove curse. Duration, instant. Permanent curse, range the caster or a creature touched. Remove curse instantaneously removes 1 curse from a creature. It may allow a character to discard a cursed magic item. The reversed spell is curse. Place a deleterious effect upon a creature. If it fails a save versus spell effect, the exact form and effects of the curse are determined by the caster. Maximum possible effects include a -2 penalty to saving throws, a -4 penalty to hit, reducing an ability score by 50%. Multiple curses may afflict a creature as long as each has a different effect. Referee judgment. The referee should judge the effect of the spell and may turn overly powerful curses back upon the caster. Well, let me make note. I mean, those don't seem exactly like what we're talking about here. I'm going to have to go over and look at the AD&D book again. But let me make note that we do have spells. Note. Cleric spells. Include bless. Bless. Reversible. And remove curse. But I don't know if that's exactly what we were talking about. So that's page 136 and 139. 136, remove curse. 139. It's more, let me see. Okay, so here is the Celtic AD&D book right here. Let's see what we're talking about here. AD&D, talking about Druids, Great Old One says, limited them to scimitar or dagger from metal weapons. I'd support that. The saber is the same. Scimitar? I mean, perhaps. Let's see. Okay, so let's go over here to this book. This is the Celtic AD&D book. Let's take a look at Bard. If I can find, okay, I think over here. This says, like spells allowed over here, says, bards have minor access to the spheres of divination, charm, and all. I'm not sure what and all. I think we read that. I'm not sure what that means. Characters born with magical affinity or appropriate she blood may multiclass as bard mages. Bards may use any magical items usable by druids plus any magical musical instruments. Here it is. Okay, so here it is. Bards have the ability to inflict curses on those who offend them in the form of magical verses. At second level, a bard gains the use of the priest spell curse. Okay, so that is throwing it over to the priest spell curse, the reverse of bless. And at fifth level, the bard gains the use of bestow curse, the reverse of remove curse. A bard may remove curses inflicted by any bard of lower level, which I think we also had mentioned. Yeah, a bard may remove any curses placed upon another in this way by any bard of lower level. Well, I mean, on the other hand, that does kind of sound like we got it. Second level, the bard gains the use of the pre-spell curse. So they get bless, but it's reverse bless. Because actually, I kind of think of the druids having bless. Let me just put this down here, because that's the druids come in the story, and the warriors are about to go out, and the druids come in and start blessing them by hitting them with the branch, right? They're basically their wand. Cleric spells. So maybe it is like, so druids. Okay, we want Spirit Wall as a new druid spell. Druids need bless. Maybe that's the big difference, that the bards get reverse bless, which is curse, and remove curse. But it's reversible. So they get bless reversible, which is not a real easy way to talk about this, but bless reversible, which is curse. And then remove curse, which is bestow curse. At fifth level. I mean, okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. It's been a while since I've watched The Hobbit. Snapped one in half during the orcs ambush at the lookout. We'll have the druid have more respect for their staff. So, okay, so yeah, so I guess the blessings need to go to the druid, and then the curses need to go over here. But still, with like the biting nature of that 136, I mean, does that work? 136? If the druid, if the bard then needs to hurl insults at somebody, does the reverse of bless work? Incurs a -1 penalty to morale checks. Yeah, sure. Attack rolls and damage rolls of enemies within 20-foot square area. And you do get a save versus spell. Yeah, and that's a second level spell. But we're going to say they're just going to be able to cast it at second level. We'll write that up. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I mean, that seems like a reasonable way to do it, I suppose. Okay. Unless somebody has a better idea that's like the biting satire that the bard would be able to give at somebody. Okay. By playing music and singing, the bard can fascinate subjects in a 30-foot radius. This ability does not function in combat. Up to 2 HD of creatures per level of the bard are affected. This bard may choose to target a specific individual or a group. At first level, the bard can fascinate persons. At 4th level, animals may also be effective. At 7th level, monsters can also be affected. Fascinated subject's attention is fully bent on the bard's performance as long as it continues. Follow. The bard may walk while playing. Fascinated subjects will follow. It's like the Pied Piper thing. I decided to leave that in there. It's a bit Pied Piper-ish, but I think it also kind of works. If you are interrupted by a loud noise or violence, the fascination ends. Okay, so we're gonna take out this idea of the progression to druid. We talked a lot about that last time we were live. About all these different types of classes that could potentially be classes that lead to something else. I mean, do you say historically here or whatever, the idea that you're a bard for a while and then you choose to go on to become a druid. But I don't think that works. We talked a lot about that last stream, and I don't think that works here. So we're just going to keep bard and druid separate, as with all of our different classes, because we don't have a systematic way to do that across all classes. We talked a lot about that last time. So we're gonna go ahead and say that, okay, you might not really be a real bard until level 3. You're still in training. And we would probably say that about a lot of different classes, that maybe you're not completely the real thing until 3rd level. And we need to do a whole video on that, I think. But let's get rid of that. So we're not going to have any type of progression from bard to druid. Bard should be, it's completely its own thing. Charming, fascinated subjects. If the bard performs at least one If a bard performs for at least one turn and the performance ends without interruption, fascinated subjects may be placed under a deeper charm. Each subject must make another save versus spell with a +2 bonus, or be charmed for 1 turn per level of the bard. Friendship. Charmed subjects regard the bard as a trusted friend and ally and will come to the bard's defense. If they share a language, charmed subjects will obey the bard's command. Alignment. Commands that contradict the charmed creature's nature or alignment may be ignored. Why don't we say nature/alignment? I'm not really doing a whole lot with alignment, but nature could be. Charmed subjects never obey suicidal commands. Bards learn new languages as they advance in level at every even-numbered level above 3rd, 4th, 6th, 8th, etc. The bard may choose an additional language. Bards may learn the secret tongue of Druids in this way. I'm going to make sure that, like, this is... to make sure that you know that it's not an eternal page number reference. You got to be sure of that. Druid, yeah, there we go. That is advanced fantasy. See, Druid, advanced fantasy. That way you know it's not an eternal page number reference. Lore, okay. From 2nd level, a bard has a 2 in 6 chance of knowing lore pertaining to monsters, magic items, or heroes of folktale and legend. This ability may be used to identify the nature and power of magic items. This is better. Like, we're not doing non-weapon proficiencies because I like the idea that you are an adventurer. If you're any of these character classes, then what you are is an adventurer. We're not doing non-player or non-weapon proficiencies. If you need a specialist in a non-combat task, that's somebody that you should go and hire that person. But the bard does have a 2 in 6, which is pretty classic as far as OSE goes. A 2 in 6 chance of knowing lore pertaining to monsters, magic items, or heroes of folktales legend. Okay, that's great. After reaching 11th level, the bard can establish a bardic hall. 2d6 apprentices bards of 1st level will come to study under the character. And that does, see that right there, says apprentice bards. That at 1st level, okay, they are of the bard class, but they are still apprentice bards and need to study. So that makes sense. Like, you're not a full until like 3rd level or something. This should include a high social status, well, in the Celtic context, because of cultural preservation. That they are doing at this bardic hall. But, probably I'm already covering that because we did say we gave them a social bonus. Where is that? We read it here tonight. Oh yeah, bards gain +1 reaction rolls every 3 levels from others in their same cultural group. So 9, they would get it again at 12. They can start at 11, attracting followers. So that's this. So yeah. So that seems to be like why they would get. They're getting +3 to reaction rolls. So I think that's covered. I think it's covered there. By that time, they're getting +3 to reaction rolls. They're about to get a +4 to reaction rolls when they hit 12th level. So I think that's probably completely covering this idea of social responsibility and being looked on socially favorably. Stray says, I remember my DM almost kicked a player out of this game for wanting the party to make a barbershop quartet. But then, okay, so going then to the other priest, which is the druid, which is modeled mainly on the magic user. Okay, they are based on intelligence and wisdom. Okay, that's their prime requisites. They're at 7th level and above. They're immune to charms of the Fae of the Otherworld. And I do kind of like this idea that they are not, that they become also immune to bardic magic, to any type of source of charm or something from the bards, because this does represent the supremacy of the druids as priests over the bards. Since we're not doing, okay, become a bard first in order to become a druid. We're giving everybody their own class. that does, and progression, that does at least give them that idea that the druids are superior to the bards. The druids must carry the holy symbol, such as a sprig of mistletoe, which the character must harvest. Let's say animistic religion again. I think it's okay to be vague here. OSE seems to be vague. I said druids must be faithful to the tenets of their animistic religion. Leave that up to the table. Penalties as determined by the game master. So druids of any level may spend time and money on magical research. This allows them to create new spells or magical effects not associated with the spirits of rock, root, and stream. Not spell scrolls, but now we are talking about carving or creating one-time use magic items with the alphabet on something. I think that fits. HP and Thaco as magic user, spells per level as magic user, saves as magic user. Okay, this is the idea we've just going through here, and like, okay, so maybe we do have the druids have a spell book like kind of function with the Ogam alphabet that allows them to cast different spells. Maybe nothing. Maybe no spell of the priests, of the priestly class. This might be too much, but when we're talking about what is the druid spell list, we could say maybe no spell of the priest classes, bard, vate, and druid, is off limits to the druid. So in that case, the druid spell list includes bard and vate spells. Also emphasizing their primacy as priests. Their primacy as priests. But they've got to find their spells. That could be it. Maybe that's it. So that way we should have a huge list of spells for the druid. Everything the bard can do, the druid can potentially do. Every spell the vate can potentially cast, the druid can potentially cast. But I say potentially because the other two are going to get theirs through the cleric spell casting kind of rules, whereas the druid has got to find all of them, but he can potentially cast all of them. Potentially, I like that idea. I mean, there's some things there about now there's got to be spells that the others can't cast. So there's a niche protection thing there, but that could potentially work. And then we were also going to say that the druid has a major advantage in spell casting with magic items, especially wands, which we know is something that is actually supposed to be something that is supposed to be a balancing factor in old school, like finding swords, finding wands. Okay, you find wands, the magic user, in this case the druid, is supposed to be able to use them and should be able to get them. Swords, okay, the cleric won't be able to use a magic sword. We'll talk about that. We are also going to include, once again, the druid may not be an actual druid until 4th level because they're an apprentice. Okay, we definitely want to include that. And then we'll add some ranks to the druid. I like that. Druid staff harm invulnerable monsters. I love that in the hands of a druid. I like the idea. This is just a note here. I like the idea that it takes a certain number of druid levels Okay, type here. Okay, levels to make a druid. So if you're really a druid, so if you become really a druid, a druid proper at 4th level, and get your staff. That needs to be a ceremony. I mean, something like knighting. I mean, there could be, I mean, in the other worlds when there are knights, but we have thanes or something like that. But you know, like the equivalent of a warrior knighting. I'll just put that as a note right here. Something like that. Get your stuff. There needs to be a ceremony, but it takes like if you're about to become a 4th level druid, so you're about to become 4th level, like a minimum. Well, I guess a minimum of 8 levels of druid to officiate the ceremony. Two druid, maybe a minimum of 2 druids, and 8 total levels. That way, you can't have just one 8th level druid can't come by and make you a druid. But you got to have 2 druids to officiate the ceremony of at least 8 total levels or something like that. I don't know. I'm just tossing that out there. But that it requires a certain number of druids to come by and induct you basically into the order and give you your staff, which has magical properties, and then you're a druid proper. A single druid can't make another druid, which means a single druid cannot make another druid. No matter how powerful or how high level. As being inducted into this order. You can still gain XP, but cannot gain level until so inducted. So if you're really on the out and out of the druidic order, well, then you got a problem. Stray says, I like the idea of the druid having a nature be good stick for when the unicorn gets ornery. So the the druid staff here harm invisible monsters in the hands of a druid. But let's not make this a normal staff. Let's say this is specifically the staff that is handed to you. When you become 4th level, can harm creatures that are immune to mundane attacks. You could light up your staff. Maybe also charge it as, I have to look up rules on wands or something like that, but also charge it as a wand. And like I said, and I think that James Bacon was talking about, we could get really deep into this. which I think is not necessary for just the initial character class, where staves cut from different types of trees could have different effects, like what type of tree yours is carved from. That sounds like something that would be extra in addition and written someplace else, not into the base class. But yeah, you could get real deep into the different types of wood and trees, which might even make sense, but I don't know if it makes sense for like the initial class. All right, so there we go. I then want to move. We're not going to continue too much longer here, but that leaves the Vate. And man, I was working a lot on the Vate, trying to figure out what this is and what kind of powers the Vate has. I've got like 3 different kinds of write-ups here that are all written in here. So the Vate, and I am saying Vate here because I like the association with the word fate. So the Vate, a seer, that was in the AD&D guide here, and it said that, hey, it's probably specifically not very well suited for being a player character. I was like, well, why do we have a class here if it's not really suitable for being a player character? We need to be sure that this is an adventuring class, like I think all of the classes should be. The player classes should be adventuring focused. And then I realized that, well, we don't actually have a cleric kind of class here. We don't have the half-caster kind of class here. So maybe most Vates, we could say most Vates, are not real big into adventuring. They will be lonely, or they will become like hermit-like, and obsessed with like the divination or whatever. But that some of the Vates need to go out and go adventuring. And so we can have something like some kind of Vate kind of adventuring class. So that's just that. So we'll say that a lot of Vates just stay at home and are really weird. And this one's still going to be weird because I said here that like the Vate, we're going to have this weird ass half caster. But they are going out. And I took a number of different ways to potentially try to take a stab at this kind of character, who I think is needed. I actually do think it's needed as far as our different kinds of character classes, because we don't have a good half caster, which is what the cleric is supposed to be. And especially, I mean, let's make this guy weird. Let's make this guy a weird half caster. So wisdom 11, prime requisites wisdom, hit die d6, maximum level 14, armor. Oh, armor none? This is interesting. I didn't know I had armor none here. Of course, in Rabivania, we have bark cloth. I'm gonna have to remember that when we were talking about our different types of gear. Perhaps we can use the word bark cloth instead of leather, at least in terms of Rabivania. Stray says, we had a blind oracle in a party that once had only true sight in a 10-foot circle around them. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of, okay. I mean, that's the kind of weirdness that like potentially going for. Let's go. Okay, so they're warrior. This type of Vate. I guess what I was trying to think of with this particular type of Vate was something that was akin more to a friar. When you've got the different types of people who live the consecrated life. You've got the hermits, you've got monks, you've got anchorites, but then there are also friars, which is like Friar Tuck, who, yes, lives the consecrated life and all of that, but then is also, their thing is that they go out into the world. So I was kind of thinking this Vate as like the friar equivalent of a Vate. Like, who is it that, yes, this is level 2 priest. Bard is level 1 priest. Not exactly level. So, hey, Bacon. I mean, as far as the classes, as far as the ranking within their society goes, the bards are the most commonly interacted with kinds of priests. The Vates are the second, and then the Druids are the highest order of priesthood. So, but anyway, so this is the Vate who is like the friar who goes out into the world. Clubs, dagger, staff, and sling. So I feel like they have to have some divination style. But then again, in the story, the witches do that a lot. And I want to be sure that I'm not stepping on the toes. I want to be sure there's a lot of niche protection here that I don't want to duplicate like a bunch of Vate stuff with witch, even though witch is very separate as far as our priesthood goes. So weapons could be club, dagger, sling, spear. Okay, we want them to be immediate and concrete kinds of diviners if we're going to have that kind of magic with them. Detecting invisible enemies. Yes, detect invisible. Locate secret doors. 2 out of 6 chance when they're actively searching. That they're good at seeing the unseen. I mean, that seems to fit with them. That if they're supposed to see the unseen, their ability to locate individual, like, is this, I do want to say, is this a spell-like ability? Or a spell? This is more like a spell-like ability right here. Spell lists, we need to focus on detecting magic, finding traps, locating objects, true seeing. Like, that's what Stray just brought up. Yeah, I think so. So access to AD&D, cleric divination, and wizard greater divination. But then I said, in the world, the witches often use divination magic, and so I got to think about niche protection. That's a big thing. Like these kinds of things, I don't think the witches have. That sounds like something a Vate would have. And Vate also, I have the least amount of like material that's already potentially written in a story. Of probably all of the character classes. So the Vates, I'm very much kind of like flying blind and designing here. So may use all magic items acceptable to Druids and all related to divination. Do we put a level restriction on this? Because it does make sense that if you've got these magic items that are restricted to the priesthood, the bards, the Vates, and the Druids should be able to use them. But do we put a level restriction on this, such as using them as a Druid of 2 levels lower? We were kind of talking about doing that with Bard. That preserves the Bard's ability to, that preserves the Druid's ability to be the highest level, or be able to most effectively use magic items that are of a priestly nature, but that these can as well. Vates fight. There were all kinds of ideas that were thrown in here. This says Vates fight as a magic user, meaning poorly. They rely on the protection of others. But I don't think that works anymore. I think for the friar type Vates, I don't think this works. I don't think this works anymore. If Vates are the friar type, go ahead and let them fight as cleric. And give them the cleric saves as well. Okay. Spirit shield, although they wear no armor, the spirits watch over them. They gain +2 bonus to saving throws versus spells, specifically those against charm and illusion. Well, I was giving them some armor, but still potentially +2 saving throws against spells and against illusion and charm. That seems to be thematic. Divine spell casting. They cast spells by petitioning the spirits, and so have spells as a cleric. Okay. Um, they use the standard cleric spell list, but with the following restriction: they cannot prepare reverse spells that cause direct harm, nor combat buff spells like spiritual hammer. I mean, okay, I did kind of give them. I copied over the cleric spell list down here. Maybe the restrictions on reverse make sense. Yeah, their magic focuses on divination, the stream, healing, the roots, and protection, the rock. I do like that. Yeah. We said, okay, 2 in 6 chance of finding secret doors, right? That was already up here. Yes. Okay. Truth seeking. By focusing for 1 round, they can detect if an object or person is magically disguised or if a spoken word is a deliberate falsehood. I see that. I was trying to, and Better with Bacon had read the story. Like, I thought that, hey, could we use um, Clovis's mother as kind of an example of a fate? But I don't really think that went too well. The healing, like, I'm trying to figure out what to do with healing, especially in the terms of a Celtic context. I don't know if I like all the just here's cure light wounds or something, or maybe somebody should have that, but it should be pretty rare. Like only one character class should have that. There is specific, like, extreme magical healing in the story, but I don't like. But because it is so extreme, it seems like it's something that's inappropriate for character classes to just do. So let's just remove that. The Vates know the history of the Age of Thunder and the nature of beasts. They have the ability to identify monsters. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so here's another one that's kind of based on Einogen, which is the story that was right here. I like this one, the one that we just kind of went through. Okay, but let's just delete a bunch of stuff here, I'm sure. Okay, 1d6 standard cleric toughness. Yeah, we had that above. Okay. Here they've got leather armor. Did we put shields up there? My clerics always used a shield. Not sure. Shield. I just put question mark right there. My clerics always used a shield. Let's get rid of all this. They use the standard cleric class. Spell casting. Protection from evil, right? But it's not evil, it's the other world stuff. I think we've got that, though. I think we've got here's the spells. Detect evil. Excuse me. Protection from evil. Yeah. Protection from the other world. Robert says that a shield is a great way to display a holy symbol. Yeah, so that's true too. I don't think I have a problem with these guys having a shield. But, okay, I think they need the turn. See, okay, so this is what I was trying to work with too. Turning. Okay, a classic part of the cleric, turning undead is classic. But I don't think it fits the Celtic kind of world. So I think they need to be able to turn spirits, and stuff. So it's not really an undead kind of thing, but that it is turning turning spirits. I think that works. You're like, I just don't think there's enough undead in kind of the Celtic kind of worldview to worry about turning them. And plus, then that seems like a deliberate copy of the cleric. So I think they need to deal with other like hostile spirits from the other world. So Stray says, I think that Vate should have a defense that's somewhat like Misty Step in lieu of a shield or something. Right, yeah, helping spirits find rest or something like that. Yeah. That it seems like, oh, what's going on here? Because that seems like a big part of the magic kind of thing. Like, we got some weird crap going on here. Well, why is it weird? It's because we've got some type of not manifestation or infestation or whatever, by some type of weird type of spirit or something. And the Vate should be able to have control over that. Since they wear light armor, the Vates apply their wisdom modifier to their AC in addition to their dex, representing their ability to sense attacks before they land. Okay, once again, this is another secret door thing right here. And then I do want to come up with different loadouts. Okay, so what is this? See, this version gave them any type of shield. I was trying to come up with some type of limit to their weapons, like the clerics have, which is also a limit to what is a mechanical thing. Like we said, that hey, it's very common that you find magic swords, but clerics can't use blades, so they can't use swords. So those have to go over to the warrior. It seems like having some kind of guess that you can't use certain types of weapons could certainly carry over here. So like, what is their weapon restriction? The guess of the blade. They are forbidden from wielding weapons of the nobility. I kind of like that. They can only use, I like this. So if you're looking for some type of reason to have them restricted, to have some type of weapon restriction, I think some type of guess makes that completely work. I don't know. So augury, and like we were fighting with this the last time because so apparently some of these spells don't show up in OSE, so we're gonna have to rewrite them. But augury, this kind of thing sounds like, to me, it should go over to witch, because they're the witches, the ones who do that a lot and perform the divination. When something's going on, the witches show up and take care of that. I don't know. I think that's a pretty cool. That's kind of with the first stab here. That's not done yet, but I think that's a pretty neat kind of character class, and one that is not otherwise represented. And I think that goes very well with as the third of the priestly classes, the second highest, but the third of the priestly classes. I kind of like where it's going. And then I went and extracted all of the cleric spells. Cure light wounds. I want to be sure that, unless we said that, hey, the druid could potentially learn all as long as he finds the particular script. Detect evil or other spirit. And what exactly in that context is the difference between detect evil and detect magic? What is the difference here? between detecting evil or detecting spirits and detecting magic. There might not be one. Maybe that spell needs to be rewritten. Light, purify food and water, remove curse, remove fear or cause fear. They kind of seem like maybe cause fear is what they need to be doing. Let somebody else remove fear, like the druid. Bless or blight. You know, that might be bardic in nature. We were talking about sliding that over there. Find traps, hold person, no alignment, resist fire. Silence 15-foot radius, snake charm, speak with animals. Continual light, cure disease, growth of animal. Remove curse. This one might also be bardic. Create water, cure serious wounds. Who is going to be our healer? I mean, it's here because it's the cleric, and because this is modeled off of the cleric and just brought over from cleric, that, the cleric is supposed to be doing that kind of thing. But I'm not sure if it's right here for the cleric to be doing that. If you're going to give anybody kind of like, it's a big deal to me. It's really a big deal to me to give somebody healing magic, because in the stories, healing magic comes at such a great cost. Like, it's not something that's done casually. Healing magic isn't something that's done casually in the Celtic world. So it's got to be seriously considered. Like, and every time there is something that someone is healed magically, it comes at some kind of great cost, right? It's not just like, oh well, my turn this time, I'm going to cause cure serious wounds. Does it make sense? Maybe you just remove all of that. Whereas neutralize poison, that's probably, and here it's spirits. Speak with plants, sticks to snakes. Question mark again right there. Commune, create food, dispel evil or spirits. I do really like quest. We talked about quest last time. Quest or remove quest. Finger of death, raise dead. Let's look at that spell. Remove fear when you see a druid making a reconsidered swing at DragonCon with their staff. What is raise dead? I mean, again, that's one of those things that just might not make sense in kind of the Celtic kind of world. Let me see if I can find it. Cleric spells 1, 3, 4. That's a 5th level. Okay. Raise dead. This spell has 2 uses. 1, restore life to a recently deceased human or Restore life to a recently deceased human or demi-human. See below. Destroy undead. A single undead monster is destroyed if it fails a saving throw versus spell. Restore life. When used to restore life, the following stipulations apply. Time limit. The caster can raise a person who has been dead for no longer than 4 days per level of the caster above 7th. For example, a 10th level caster can revive a character who has been dead for 12 days. 3 levels above 7th times 4 days. Weakness. Returning from death is an ordeal until the subject gets 2 full... unless the subject gets 2 full weeks of bed rest, they have 1 hit point, move at half the normal rate, cannot carry heavy items, and cannot attack, cast spells, or use other class abilities. This period of weakness may not be shortened by any magical healing. The reverse is Finger of Death, direct array of deadly magic at a single target. If the target fails a saving throw versus death, it dies instantly. Casting Finger of Death is a chaotic act. It will only be used by lawful casters in desperate situations. I mean, when I think about Celtic, experiences raising dead, Celtic spells that raise the dead. You know, I think about the cauldron, that weird cauldron. You know, it just seems like that's something that really. It just seems to me major healing magic and raise the dead magic should be outside of the player's purview. And maybe from gameplay perspective, maybe somebody could have like the cure light wounds. Like maybe that's not a problem, but maybe we don't ever have like the cure serious wounds and things like that, and we're not bringing people to back to life. I kind of like that. Like that's not inside the player character's ability. There. If you need somebody brought back to life, like you got to use that weird cauldron and stuff. Hey, Sunken Voices, welcome. Good to see you. We're kind of wrapping up here, but great to have you. Stray says the hag gave a finger wave and there were no survivors. Yeah. So, I think I need to go over every one of these by one. Every one of these spells one by one. And we're going to need to add in. Yeah, okay, there's still a lot of thinking about spells to do. I do kind of like the idea that all spells are available to the druid. So we say maybe remove. You know, but on the other hand, the healer, I have less. Oh, it's Arbex. Oh, okay, it's PH Arbex. Welcome. I have less of a problem with outside of combat healing. That like if the witch, for instance, is the one who can brew a magic potion to help you with healing, but that's outside of combat. That's not something that's done inside of combat. That's okay. Sunken Voices, that sounds very cool. I like it. Okay. So, where are we? Did we make progress this evening? I kind of think we did. There's more I want to do, but okay. I was trying to address Bard, Druid, and Vate kind of all at the same time, since they were kind of our priestly class. So there's still a lot more work to do, but but I'm feeling better about it. Especially with Vate, because I like copied so much stuff over to try to make Vate work. And I still want to do a lot more work trying to make them just feel really weird. If you're an adventuring Vate, then you're definitely a weird kind of person. Okay. Well, like I said, if you just came by, I did pack up some Cultist RPG books today. I packed up 12 more Kickstarter rewards, and they are in my car to take to ship tomorrow. So Kickstarter is going on. I will try to then stream Wednesday night, assuming I don't just accidentally forget that it's Wednesday or whatever with something else going on. Looks like Wednesday night we will continue this. I really enjoyed this. This was really good. I think we made a lot of progress here, and I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. Hopefully you have a wonderful evening. Go forth, be creative, be constructive for the rest of the evening. Have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you guys back here Wednesday night. I really appreciate your hanging out here. Enjoyed it. Later, everybody.